Okay, boys, this one's going to be a doozy. I pretty much wrapped up the first area of Uptown, and so I'll point out what changed here and what's going on with the progress. So the first thing you'll notice is when you scroll the signs, the one-way signs, and also the buildings in the background are both on their own layer now. So there's like a subtle scroll on parallax on the building background and also the one-way signs. A lot of graphics cleanups here. So here's the thing about Uptown. So in the original game, they kind of had these weird shaped, patterns in the background, and so they weren't uniform. Like they were all the same size except for one, and then one was a little bit wider. Like it looks stupid. And so in the original game, there were seven of these on the left side of the elevator, and there were only one wide one to the right of it. But in this, I actually normalized it so they're all the same size. You'll notice that I have an event system now. So when I went to the end of the stage, it triggered the elevator coming down. And you'll also notice around the elevator here, I've corrected all the alignment issues. That the elevator is perfectly aligned with the background art now. And you'll notice that this isn't a forced cutscene. You actually always have complete control in this game. So the elevator opened, but I actually have to decide, all right, fine. I guess if I want to, I'll go in here and see how it's actually triggered by my doing that. So you always have complete control in this game. That there's no bullshit where it tells you, oh, we're gonna take control of your character, and you have to do that. I mean, look, I can even kind of like enter around in the elevator a bit, as much as I can move around. So you basically always have control. And as you can see here, I have multiple layers, clouds, building backgrounds. Everything works at 16:9. And see the event system. When you hit the top, it opens the door. And notice how it's once again it's sitting here. And so there's an event in the game that basically says, if the players haven't all got out of the elevator, then just leave it open. But as soon as I leave, see, it knows to close that. That's the event system in action. So I went completely nuts on the parallax here. This was such an insane job. So you got the scrolling, cloud, but watch this as we move. We actually have like moving palm trees. Shadow moves with them. We have four layers in the background here. See how the the umbrella in the foreground and the pool in the background, and then the green layer in the background, and then the buildings are all on separate layers of parallax, and so they all have a subtle difference in scrolling. It's all been extracted like that. It looks like Sonic the Hedgehog or something, but it's pretty nice. And so this was an insane amount of work. I mean, the number of images. I mean, we're talking about like around 34, 35 different images to make this happen. All the priorities are there. Yeah, this is pretty fucking crazy. And yet, having said that, I haven't got into how fucking crazy this really is. So we saw 16:9 aspect ratio. Well, what happens if we bump this puppy up to 21:9 aspect ratio? What happens if we have a 10-player game and we're running amok? We can't fit 10 haggers into one elevator. So you can probably see where I'm going with this crazy crap. So depending on the number of players and resolution aspect ratio, this thing automatically generates multiple elevators. And all the same logic that I mentioned before actually applies. So it's going to say, if all the players are loaded up in an elevator, then we can move. We can bring this sucker up and see how it all scales perfectly. Multiple elevators. Got the gaps to see the building in the background, and this scales as far as you can take it. I can show you this crap at 32:9 aspect ratio, at 64:9 aspect ratio. Whatever we want to do there, but it just scales up infinitely. And it's pretty fucking crazy. This is, I don't know, it is. It's almost surreal seeing this thing actually running in action, because it's like, can you even believe this fucking exists? So let me show you 32:9 aspect ratio just so you can see the full insanity here, and then I'll end it with that. So yeah, this is super wide, and we almost needed the extra space for the elevators to even fill out the entire width of this, for the bottom floor here. And I mean, look at this crap. We got elevators coming out the, yin yang over here. So, and that's the thing. See, and here's the interesting thing too. You can take any one of these. So, I don't know. I'll go in this one, I guess. And because there's only one player, it goes out of that one. There's all kinds of crazy shit happening, to actually make this happen because there's all kinds of fudge shit in the original game where like there's like jittering and jerking and like abrupt animation changes when the elevator moves. All of this is flawless, perfect. Everything happens exactly as it should. Yeah, it is pretty nuts. And yeah, there we go. That is Uptown. So now the real challenge is I got to figure out how am I going to top this because there's still two more stages in the game after this one, and so it just seems like the last two areas in Uptown are going to need something extraordinary to not be anticlimactic after this tour de force that we have here.